2, 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5 seconds.
So, vehicle, GSLV MkIII vehicle with the ignition of two solid strap-on boosters, S200, successfully lifted off from the second launch pad. Heard from the range operation director, the performance of the S200 solid strap-on booster is normal.
Plus 1 minute.
We are 60 seconds into the flight. Vehicle has climbed to an altitude of almost 15 kilometers. And as per the flight sequence, at 110 seconds, we should have the ignition of L110. Which will be followed by the separation of two solid strap-on boosters at 140 seconds. So right now we are at 86 seconds now. The altitude is around 27 kilometers and velocity is just 1 kilometer per second. And on the display plot, we have a very close match of the vehicle altitude, the pre-flight and the flight predictions.
जी हाँ, चूंकि आसमान बिल्कुल साफ है इसलिए दूर तक अंतरिक्ष में जाता हुआ GSLV MkIII और जैसा कि हम देख पा रहे हैं L110 इग्निशन सफलतापूर्वक शुरू हो चुका है। लिक्विड स्टेज और जो सॉलिड स्टेज थी, जो ठोस चरण था, उसका निष्पादन बहुत सफलतापूर्वक समाप्त हो गया।
So L110 has been ignited at 112 seconds as per the pre-flight program. So right now we are at 135 seconds. So we have continuous burning of strap-ons and L110. And just now we saw the announcement that two solid strap-on boosters S200 has been successfully separated from the launcher.
जी हाँ, दोनों जो ठोस बूस्टर्स थे उनका अलगाव हो चुका है मुख्य यान से और केवल अब द्रव चरण और क्रायोजेनिक इंजन यान उपग्रह को लेके अंतरिक्ष में अपने पथ पर अग्रसर।
So you can see on your screen the vehicle with L110 C25 going into towards the orbit, and the two strap-ons which are falling apart after its burnout at 140 seconds, re-entering.
Guidance initiated.
This is the view of the solid strap-on boosters separation from the main vehicle. We are at 185 seconds into the flight, altitude of almost 100 kilometers. The next flight event we are looking at is at 230 seconds when we'll have the separation of the payload fairing, which is the one which protects the spacecraft during the atmospheric phase. And on your screen, the parameters, the altitude, which indicates the height at which the launch vehicle is presently going through from the Earth, and the relative velocity of the launcher. So closed loop guidance algorithm has been initiated at 149 seconds. Performance of L110 is normal.
जो अगला क्षण है वो महत्वपूर्ण है, पेलोड फेयरिंग सेपरेशन सुरक्षा कर, और वो भी बिल्कुल सफलतापूर्वक अलग हो गया है। और इसके साथ ही 230.8 सेकंड पे इसके अलग हो जाने के बाद अब उपग्रह अंतरिक्ष में सीधे एटमॉस्फेयर पे खुला हुआ और इस तरह से अपने पथ पर अग्रसर। लिक्विड इंजन का प्रज्वलन जारी है, जो करीब प्रज्वलन शुरू होने के बाद से लगभग 315 सेकंड तक जलता रहता है। इस समय हम करीब 4 मिनट 24 सेकंड का समय बीत चुका है और हमें 5 मिनट 15.72 सेकंड पे इसे L110 को शट ऑफ करेंगे, बंद करेंगे।
So just now you saw on your screen the successful separation of the payload fairing at 230 seconds. The flight is now 282 with the velocity of almost 3.4 kilometer, and the range is the distance which the launcher has traveled from the launch base is nearly 450 kilometers now. and vehicle is at an altitude of 145 kilometers.
Plus 5 minutes.
So as per the nominal flight sequence, we should have the L110 separation at 318 seconds. And we are seeing on our screen the authorization, ignition command authorization has been given for the C25 stage, which generally happens 20 seconds before its actual ignition. This authorization, L110 stage has been shut off successfully, and L110 stage has been separated. C25 ignition has been confirmed. The cryogenic stage, the C25 stage, has successfully ignited at 324.7 seconds. This is one of the very major event that will happen during this flight, the successful ignition of the C25 stage. As I indicated earlier, the burn time for the C25 stage will be almost for 680 to 700 seconds. So we are at 350 seconds now. The vehicle has reached altitude of almost 176. As per the sequence, the cryogenic stage should shut off at 1000 seconds, which should be another 600 seconds to go. And 15 seconds after the shut off of the C25 stage, we will have separation of GSAT-29.
जो अगला क्षण जो हम देख पाएंगे वो है केवल क्रायोजेनिक इंजन के शट ऑफ का, जो करीब करीब 16 मिनट्स 28 सेकेंड के आएगा। इस समय हम करीब 8 मिनट व्यतीत कर चुके हैं, तो मतलब लगभग 8 मिनट का प्रज्वलन और बाकी है इस यान के लिए। बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण होता है क्रायोजेनिक, और इसमें जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज होती है वो होता है स्पेसिफिक इम्पल्स, जो एक तरह से हम कहें कि किसी भी जेट इंजन या किसी भी इंजन की दक्षता के लिए बेहद जरूरी होता है कि हम अगर प्रोपेलेंट माने तो उसके किलोग्राम पर सेकंड से कितना थ्रस्ट प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, और ये सबसे ज्यादा दक्षता क्रायोजेनिक स्टेज में होती है। इसीलिए इस इंजन को सबसे सफल कुशल माना जाता है और अंतिम चरण के रूप में प्रयोग किया जाता है। इस समय हम करीब करीब 530 सेकंड व्यतीत कर चुके हैं, 5 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की वेलोसिटी प्राप्त करके 1460 किलोमीटर दूर जा चुके हैं शार से, और जबकि ऊंचाई 212.8 किलोमीटर की।
The flight time is 540 seconds, and the vehicle is at an altitude of around 212 kilometers, and the range is 1500. And if you look at the velocity right now, it's around 5.2 kilometer per second. And what is required for the launcher to deliver to satellite GSAT-29 will be of the order of 9.8. So from the time the cryogenic stage ignited at 300 seconds to burning for almost up to 1000 seconds, which is nearly a flight time of 700 seconds, you will find more than 50% of the velocity that is required for injecting the satellite into the GTO orbit is provided by the C25 stage alone, which basically speaks of the kind of efficiency and the it has in terms of delivering the high specific impulse, which is a measure of the efficiency of any propulsion stage, and the amount of velocity it is delivering to the entire launcher to take the satellite to these target conditions. Now, when you look at the cryogenic stages, as we have mentioned, this is a C25 stage burning for almost 700 seconds. They are basically very technologically challenging and complex systems compared to the solid and storable liquid propellant stages, which basically have a slightly lower energy compared to what the cryogenic propellant demands. But the question arises, why not use cryogenics for all the stages? Now, what happens is basically when you look at the cryogenic stage, the technology per se is very challenging, as we need to deal with very low temperature conditions. Like, for example, in liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen, we are talking about 80 degree Kelvin, 20 degree Kelvin. And the thrust that it generally generates, it's a slightly of lower magnitude compared to what a typical solid motors will give. So generally, these cryogenic stages are used in the upper stages of the rocket, so that it becomes more and more efficient, and they are in a better position to deliver the best possible velocity that will be required to inject heavier satellites into the desired orbit. So right now we are at 670 seconds into the flight. The altitude is around 202 kilometers. If you look at the altitude profile, at the time when the satellite is going to get injected, it will be roughly at 207 kilometers. It's a very shallow trajectory. The vehicle climbs to an altitude of almost 200 kilometers, comes down to 150, 160, and then goes back to 200 just to attain some additional velocity. So on your view graph is the downrange that is being shown, and at the time when the satellite is going to get separated, the vehicle would have moved almost 4,700 kilometers from the launch base. So this is a plot of the altitude. The lower plot is the y-axis is the altitude in kilometers, the x-axis is the time, and the red curve shows the pre-flight prediction. You can see a very close match with the pre-flight and flight prediction.
Plus 12
and the
minutes.
curve on top of the altitude was the velocity. So C-25 stage performing extremely nominal as per flight predictions, and we expect in another 300 seconds from now, we will hear the successful announcement of C-25 shut-off, followed by the separation of the satellite. Seeing on our screen, the velocity is 8.7, and the vehicle has almost attained the orbital velocity with a perigee of 183 kilometer by 10,000 kilometer. So the satellite is already, along with the cryogenic stage, has reached the orbital conditions, not the final designated one, but it's in a altitude of 184 by 12,000, and the launch azimuth for this mission was 107 degrees. So the inclination of the satellite will be at 21.5 degrees.
Minutes.
So we are at 960, another 40-50 seconds to go. Apogee is almost 17,000. In the next 30-40 seconds, you will have almost 20,000 kilometer apogee being raised. As I mentioned, the final designated orbit is going to be 190 kilometer perigee with 36,000 kilometer apogee. And very rapidly we are seeing on the screen the apogee is getting increased to 29,000 now with a perigee of 188. Right now it is around.
Engine shut off and
yes,
conditions achieved.
shut off command for the cryogenic stage has been issued, and the apogee condition of 36,000 has been very precisely met by GSLV MkIII. The upper stage with the satellite right now is at 190 kilometer perigee, apogee of 36,000 kilometer, and we have the confirmation of GSAT-29 successfully separated at 1,004 seconds in a very precise orbit.
जी हाँ, GSAT-29 उपग्रह को यान से अलग कर दिया चुका है, बहुत ही सूक्ष्म तरीके से, बिल्कुल.
III-D2 GSAT-29 mission is fully accomplished.
My dear friends across the various ISRO centers, so good evening to all of you. Today, India has achieved a significant milestone in Indian space program. I am extremely happy to declare the heaviest launcher of India in its second mission has lifted up the heaviest satellite GSAT-29 from Indian soil